We are live. What's poppin', everybody? Thursday night football, week 4. Somehow already week 4. Time has been flying by. I feel like this week particularly went freaking crazy quick. But joined with my guy Ty. We streamed the other week for prime time together. It was Monday Night Football, Vikings, and I think it was the Bears. And Ty, we absolutely cooked on that stream. I wish we were able to stream more recently than that one because I wanted to. I obviously recap the results on stream without you, but we cooked on that prime time. Let's do it again this week. How you feeling, brother?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I haven't watched I definitely haven't watched a single snap of either a Cardinal game or a Seahawks game. So these aren't exactly my favorite teams to bet on, or I feel like I'm on top of their stuff. But I feel like we can be profitable here today.
Absolutely. We're going to take advantage of some of the boosts going around at DraftKings and FanDuel like we always do on the show. We have a that touchdown jackpot bonus is back, and Ty and I were so close last week. We had JJ McCarthy to score plus 550, and he scored the second to last touchdown, with the last one coming on garbage time, which unfortunately does not equate to a cash. But we're going to take advantage of that today, logging into all of my sportsbook apps or DraftKings and FanDuel now just to see what we got. We have an SGP token for tonight. We have to bet 33% profit boost. So DraftKings doing their normal shenanigans. Ty, I don't know if you caught this, what they did last week, but they've been giving out the ghost leg parlay, where on Sundays, if you miss one leg, you get all your whole stake back if it goes 2 for 3, 3 for 4, etc. But what they did for last week is they made you bet a Thursday night SGP just to get the ghost leg for the coming Sunday, and they're doing that again, and they also give out a profit boost. So they're basically making you take 2 SGPs for tonight if you want that ghost leg for tomorrow. So I'm unfortunately going to partake, but with that being said, just some predatory stuff, unfortunately, that we got to look out there. But live touchdown boost as well, 33% SGP boost. That's on DraftKings. Let me pull up FanDuel, Ty. But before we talk some props and dive into some of the EV stuff that the amazing Pick the Odds can help us find, I actually bet a side here, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts on a side. If you have no play, don't worry about it. But curious your outlook. I know you mentioned these aren't 2 of your favorite teams.
Yeah. I think I'm a Seattle guy. I'm a Mike McDonald guy. Yep. I like their defense. I like Kubiak. I don't like Gannon, and I don't like Petzing, I believe the offensive coordinator is. So I get that they're on the road. It's a division game. I think the spread's accurate, man. It's basically a pick 'em, and it's probably true. I'd probably lean towards the Seahawks. I just think that they're the better team, so I'll take them.
So I actually like Gannon. With that being said, I think Kyler is just absolute dog, and obviously absolute dog you take with a grain of salt. He's not Justin Fields dog. He's not Russell Wilson dog. He's not Bryce Young dog. But I don't think that Kyler is anywhere near the top echelon of quarterbacks. Definitely somewhere dead set in the middle or the lower middle. And of course, the nonsense with Marvin Harrison. But to me, Ty, I'm actually a Gannon guy. I think this roster was actually built pretty well this year, but the injuries has been so bad for them. They're a team that built the team to run the football. Connor's obviously out. 2 of their best guards are out. Paris Johnson's been out. So this is a team dealing with a lot of injuries, and that hinders what they want to do. I think Trey Benson does have some life here, but all in all, I do agree with you. I think if this was a fully no injured game, I don't think Seattle's an underdog at home, though it is closer to a PK essentially, as we pull up the money line odds here at PTO. Best odds for Aries plus 115, minus 116 at Pinnacle for Seattle. So that was some late buyback there. We'll pull up the chart to see some odds movement for Seattle. But I think if this was actually a fully non-injured game, which never happens in the NFL, but if it were to be, I think I'd actually love Arizona here if the pricing was the same, which I don't think it would be for obvious reasons. But because of the situational matchup, Seattle getting healthy, Arizona dealing with their injuries, I actually bet the Seahawks yesterday at minus 115, which only has a cent on Circa right now for the best odds in market. So I have a little bit of line value, I guess, on the main line here. But I agree with you, Ty, that I think this is a Seahawks game.
Yeah, it's going to be close regardless. I don't envision this game being a blowout where it's one team's just sitting back and in prevent defense. It's a 2-score game in the fourth quarter. I don't think we get to there.
Do you think that it's going to be a lower scoring game, as we see by the total already indicating that the market is expecting definitely a lower scoring game with 2, like you said, defensive minded coaches and Mike McDonald? I'm a big McDonald guy as well. Those guys actually shot up a little bit to 43.5. I thought it was 42.5 yesterday. Might have been wrong there, but under that key number of 44 tie, you seeing a little bit of a rock fight here? Or are you thinking that this could be a aptly scored game, for lack of a better word of putting it?
Yeah, like I said, I'm strictly a prop guy. So like if anyone here is listening and is gonna like make a bet based of my opinions on the sides and total, just please don't. But I agree with you. Two defensive coaches. Stylistically, I think that Seattle is a big under team. Like they want to establish the shit out of the rock. They want to play defense. And same with Arizona. I mean, like I said, I do think Arizona does go pretty pass heavy here, which obviously just more passing in general is going to stop the clock more plays, more chances for explosives. That's just going to lead to higher scoring. But I think I would lean under here. I think, what do you say it's at 43.5?
43.5, yes.
Yeah, so then like it's 23-20, you're staying under. Honestly, a 23-20 seems like a pretty high scoring game between these two. I would think it's like more like 21 to 17 or something like that.
Yeah, Novik plus 103 on under 43.5. Only $400 of liquidity there, but Novik once again, having one of the best odds in market. We'll pull it up quickly here. Smaller liquidity, only $400, but maybe somebody in chat wants to ride in on Novik. You're getting the best price here on plus 103, 395 liquidity, but 102 with 9K. So if you guys are also interested in under, Novik's definitely the spot to bet that. Use promo code BetSmart. What is poppin', Cap? How we doing? Ty, you mentioned player props. We have boosts that we're going to use. We want to find some first touchdowns for fun, of course, as well as any times, any prop along the board. One of the most loved players in the market, and one of the best parts about Pick the Odds, Ty, is they have every single, and listeners, is they have every single prop market, game line market you could ask for to find any single bet that you want, regardless of how mainstream or lack thereof it is. But Ty, I was it's probably like the more square bet of the day, just because the guys who are loving their hit rates and their head-to-heads, they're all going to be in on Trey McBride, but I still think it's a worthwhile play. And I actually called it out on stream last night. Are you fading McBride today? You think the number is just too on point where you're just laying off, or do you think that McBride 2 score is the numbers do kind of make sense and the matchup does make sense?
Yeah, I don't know about to score. I think he could have like a lot of receptions and yards, maybe.
Yeah.
Like I said, 170 feels a little bit like, I feel like a plus 200 would be a good price for him, because I mean, say what you want about like McBride, like he scored last week, but like he has like a really, really low touchdown rate when you look at other tight ends and stuff. And I don't know if that's like sticky. I'm of the opinion that like, obviously, yes, some players are better in the red zone than others. But I think that touchdowns are mostly luck, and you're betting a price based off of how much they're going to play and if they're going to be on the field in the red zone. So I do think that I'd probably nibble at plus 200, but I don't know about this one.
Yeah, especially with Serga hanging the 190. It's still debatable how sharp Serga is going to be in the touchdown markets. The fact that they are offering a two-way market there always makes me, and they're Serga, and they're selective with who they offer. Definitely give them the benefit of the doubt that they are sharper in the touchdown market, similar to the home run market in baseball. They're definitely sharper there. I agree with you. And also something I was talking about on stream last week, which he ended up scoring a touchdown, but I was listening to the ETR podcast, and they were talking about McBride and his lack of touchdown scoring. And something that they brought up that I thought was hilarious, but also facts, even dating back to Trey McBride in high school, the guy never really scored touchdowns. And touchdowns being a variance kind of situation, like you mentioned there, Ty, not something that's sticky, not something that you can bank on. But the fact that through college and high school, as well as that, obviously in the National Football League, he doesn't score touchdowns. Maybe that, everyone's banking on the regression. Maybe that is just a situation for McBride. He's just not a touchdown scorer, despite how good of a player he is. Or maybe the big regression's coming. He's about to score 6 in a row, because he is, of course, a freaking stud, if we're being honest here. But Ty, the receptions are 6.5. Receiving yards for McBride are as high as, I saw it 73 yesterday. What's that now? Excuse me, 63. It's at 64 today. 64 seems manageable. Obviously, no gun to head here. A gun to head here, you don't have to put anything on the record here, but 6.5 receptions seems like a lot. I know we did go over that number big time in both games. Last year we had 7, at 12. But is this just the point where McBride, all the value is sucked out?
Yeah, I'd slightly lean over, I guess. 6.5 does seem high, right? Like Trey
Yeah.
McBride, is he like the best? Like, I mean, you don't really see 6.5s all that often, you know.
Yeah.
It might be like a mental block thing. It does seem kind of high. I will say, like, I think that like last year's data is pretty relevant, just given he was going up against the same defensive coordinator,
Yeah.
and his target shares were pretty absurd. So if anyone's on the over, I'm not going to shame him for it whatsoever. For me
Yeah.
personally, though, it's not really. I have a weird betting philosophy, and we can get into that later with the NFL. But he doesn't exactly fit my philosophy. But I definitely would slightly and over, especially you're getting a plus 104 at FanDuel, which seems like a pretty good price. Is there, Pinnacle's giving you plus 107?
107. Yeah.
I guess
Circa
that's
105. No big even odds, but there's no liquidity there, so not really kind of like a phantom line there. No, I'm with you there, Ty. I think at this point the value might be a little sucked out. I think like also he's not that it like impacts the line, but he's going to be like a square extreme. And of course, like every dog has their day. There's going to be the chalky ass player who goes off, and it could be McBride here. Let's look at maybe first touchdown and see if there's any like salvageable value to like circa on something, though I like doubt it. 850, 9-1 at DraftKings and 365, 9.5-1 at Rivers, though I doubt many people here are probably still have a Rivers account open, but if you do, that's probably like worth the sprinkle. But Ty, any props that you already locked in or are intrigued by coming into tonight?
Yep. So this one's so gross, and it did move a little bit. So it's still I would play it, but this is so gross, Eric. I played Michael Wilson over 20.5 receiving yards for a half unit. I played him over 12.5 longest reception for a quarter, and I played him to get a 20+ yard reception for like 0.15 units. It was like plus 220. This dude has absolutely done nothing, but Zay Jones is out, and Zay Jones is like, he'll play on the outside a lot. Michael Wilson was like a little bit short of a full-time receiver, but now without Zay Jones, Greg Dortch is the wide receiver 3. He's slot only. If they're in 2 wide sets, he's going to be on the field every single snap. Probably going to run like 85 to 90% of the routes. And Eric, I'm a big believer. I love betting on players who have done absolutely nothing for a long consecutive time, because I just believe in positive regression. I think that Michael Wilson is, he's a fine receiver. I'm not trying to make him out to be, some elite receiver, but at the end of the day, like, I like the Cardinals to pass a lot because no Connor, good run defense. And I think he's going to, Kyler's probably going to drop back like 36, 37 times. I think that he's going to be around like a 90% route participation guy. I mean, like, we're not even asking for like 1 yard per route run, especially when a guy is just do a ton of positive regression because of how bad he's played. And, because of how bad he's played, we're getting a huge discount. So, look, he against Seahawks last year, he did not have a good target share. I'm not going to try and act like it's a great matchup or anything, but he caught a ball for 30 yards in one game. He caught a ball for 41 yards the other game. I think he had 55 yards in each game. And he's just like a fine receiver, full-time receiver, like absolutely super due, really do some positive regression. I think that, this line's just too low. It should be like 29.5 or something.
So looking at some raw data here, I know it's kind of like the fate of the trend here. Only 8 targets this year, 3 catches, 21 yards, has scored a touchdown. Not the game I bet him, because I definitely did bet on Michael Wilson this season to get into the end zone. But still, a 66.7% snap rate. So you have McBride leading the Cardinals from pass catching at 87.4. Marvin Harrison, 82.0% chance, so straight 82% on snaps. We know Marv has his hands issues that are, really surprising in terms of talking about positive regression. I thought we'd see a guy like, Marv figure it out at this point. So talented. Then in targets, you have Benson, Connor, and then Michael Wilson, but Michael Wilson's been on the field 66.7% of the snaps so far. And pulling up his opportunities here in usage. Let's see, getting the numbers up. We have Connor 1. Of course, he's out of the, after the season, unfortunately. Benson 32, McBride 24, Marvin 17, and then Wilson 8. So I definitely think that when you take Connor completely out of the situation, of course, they play different positions. Benson's going to be the guy out of the backfield for the passing game and of course, running the football. But Michael Wilson is getting, only 2 more targets than Elijah Higgins. Dortch has only 4 targets this year. You mentioned Zay Jones being out. With such a low number, like you said, you have him to have a 20+ yard reception. this is a situation where you can literally get one at literally one catch.
Yeah. He's a downfield receiver too. Like Eric, do you believe in being due? I know you're very numbers oriented, so maybe you don't. And I typically really don't for NBA, but for NFL, it's just like dude, these are median lines. Like,
No,
like
that's you just hit the nail on the head there. I don't believe in the principle of somebody hasn't done something they're due to score on, but I believe in positive regression where if this person's been on the field for X amount of snaps, got this amount of targets, now this is a situation where he has an advantageous matchup and he's somebody where like the coach has been mentioning they want to get him the football and the injury situation leads to potentially more targets. And we know he's talented from the last couple of years and he's also a young player, not like he's on the decline. If anything's on the incline. So yes, in that case, I hate using the word due because of the negative sentiment around it, like you were alluding to. But I do believe in players being due. And Cap talking all over wide receiver twos, Harrison/Cup. I mean, Harrison's absolutely not WR2. If you mean like pass catch too, then I do feel that. I want to pull up Seattle because I'm actually with you where Seattle, like I'm betting EV regardless, and I'll actually run through the EV screen quickly to see what we have from just like an EV perspective. Maybe we locked something there. But I'm like Utah, like these two teams are probably my least watched teams so far this year. But I want to just know what Cooper Kupp is doing here, target wise. Second in targets with 15, 11 receptions, 136. In terms of usage here, he has a 8.9% opportunity percentage. So is Kupp washed at this point in time? But like just from like your numbers, what you're looking at here, because I know you're not like watching the games. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Kupp's fairly set. I think that he's playing. He's going to be on the field he's going to run basically every single route, right? I mean, he's a wide receiver too. Torrey Horton, I don't think is taking snaps away from him yet. There's just not much target competition. Like Donald really doesn't throw the running backs a ton. I mean, there's no one at the tight end. Like AJ Barner, he's like just like purely a blocking tight end. I mean, he's playing damn near every snap and he's at 14.5 yards. So it's super condensed between obviously JSN and then Cooper Kupp. Horton will get a couple sprinkles here and there. But yeah, like I said, Cardinals run defense is like pretty mediocre. I hate to sound lame, but I just think it's fairly set. And I think most of the Seattle stuff I think is pretty fairly set personally.
Especially with 45 minutes till game time. So no, I love the realness here. The follow-up on that, right? So Torrey Horton, only 8 targets this season, 5 receptions, 2 touchdowns, which is, ridiculous, but also scored in the passing game as well. When does it get to a point, like, for example, I think we saw a little bit last week with Zay Flowers, of course, having a ridiculously high target share, and then on that Detroit game could not hold up to that. Obviously, JSN is probably more talented than Flowers, though. Like, Flowers is still good, but I think it's very fair to say JSN's a better player. Of course, not having like a Lamar or Derrick Henry, though they love to run the football. But long story short, like when does it like Jackson Smith-Njigba's ridiculous target share, especially only playing 63.3% of snaps? That has to like eventually come down. You can't use 29 targets through 3 games, like, or is he that good? Or is he that good? They're just gonna feed him 10 a day.
I mean, he is good. Like he is very good. I mean, like looking back to college, dude, I can't believe how mid JSN was like as a rookie. Because he was literally better than Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson when he was way younger than them. So he's definitely very good. At the end of the day, though, JSN's line's at 84.5. There's actually an 86.5 at DraftKings. Dude, he's not like the best receiver in the league. Like this line is too high. He's another one. He's gonna naturally come down to earth a little bit. Sam Darnold's his quarterback playing behind a terrible O-line. Like I would not touch this over whatsoever.
That's Puka Nacua, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, AJ Brown numbers. Like, don't get me wrong, Jason is definitely a dog, but like you said, that's very high here. But looking at some of the EV, slipping back here, right here compared to the market is Softbook and 3.6 and MGM hanging at -105. So is ESPN on McBride under 6.5 catches. DVigging to FanDuel, Novig, Pinnacle, Circa, and also Sport Trade, which is a very sharp prop market. Being that we thought it was probably fair and like 6.5 just like seems high, though, might not be high. Is this 3.7% EV? Like, don't think twice, like kind of like, fade the thoughts and bet, or is this something that, sometimes you do let the ball knowledge, like not make you play something or sometimes play something, but also sometimes like lay off something, even if there's EV, especially only 3.7% in a prop market, but before game time, that's honestly pretty decent.
Yeah, no, that's a good bet. I mean, FanDuel and Pinnacle right before, like, what are we, like, less than an hour before kickoff? I mean, that's like what the line. That's like what the line should be, especially when they're both in harmony, right?
Yeah.
That's a good bet. You're saving, like, you're getting 25 cents better. I don't exactly, like, I'm not the biggest math guy, but no, that's 100% a good bet.
PTO does the math for you, telling you 3.7% EV based on I have it at DVIG'd worst case scenario. I have it to set to minimum of 2 books, but of course we have 4 here. I use Novig, Sport Trade, Circa Penny, and some other books for my DVIG. I probably should just add FanDuel here as well, but just looking at the market, telling me right there, average 122 is limited on MGM. Check out ESPN, limited on ESPN. Check out MGM, limited at both. Maybe try to set a quick order at like Novig or something and see if you get a biter. But this is definitely worth playing here. Trey McBride under. I do think there's a possibility that Tyler, like you mentioned, Ty does sling it though. Because the market is telling us under on Trey McBride, and you already have your thoughts on Michael Wilson here, only 1.4%. But again, looking at a potential receiving prop, 3 receptions for Wilson, 118 FanDuel, 105 Penny, nothing at Circa, but 120. This is something that's intriguing as well, or smaller expected ROI. So like not like if you have, say, for example, a 1 unit bet on the McBride, this would come down, even though this, I think I have it set to $50. So this is probably like, a 0.4 unit bet realistically, while the McBride was like a 0.4 unit bet. But Michael Wilson, I think this is something that I'm definitely playing as well here.
Pinnacle and FanDuel know that Wilson's due. That's all I need to see.
Absolutely.
The Sharks know he's due.
So I'm also going to write this down. PTO's bet tracking is still in the works. I can't wait for that to come. But for TNF, I also I did talk about McBride touchdown last night, so I'm not going to back on the stream last night. So I'm going to still ride with that, even though the price was a little bit better last night. I think it was 180 last night, even though it's still worse to FanDuel. But as somebody who said it, I'm not going to back up on that. But I'm going to say McBride. I bet Seattle money line as well. But McBride, 6.5 Rex, so maybe we get a little crazy with a little reverse correlation somewhere there. Because we got to start using these boosts with game time and get some first tutties for the boys. But Michael Wilson, 3+. Rex, absolutely writing down. I'll just drop to 120. Live on the screen. I'm looking at the MGM. I didn't change over. Just dropped to 120 as we're speaking. So hopefully you guys, while I was typing shit, we're betting and got that in on that one right there.
There you go.
All right, Ty. Any other props? I know you're a big Wilson guy. I do think Kyler's going to sling it. So let's talk. Even if you didn't, of course, if you have a prop you bet, let's talk about that. But if not, let's try to hunt some value in the touchdown markets for fun in the first touchdown market.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think? So this isn't at every book, but it's at Bet Online and Prop Builder, which is a good book. Which you can definitely get down fair money on there. Yeah. What are your thoughts on Amari DiMercado receiving stuff? I'm seeing a 7.5 yards, a 1.5 receptions at plus 115. I think that, last year he was like the clear-cut third down back for them. Mm-hmm. Maybe he even gets a couple base snaps. He's just clearly a receiving back for them. I don't know how I feel about. I need to do a little bit more research, but what's your take on like the Benson DiMercado backfield stuff?
So thinking about what was going down with Benson prior to the Connor injury, like that was like I know they had the big bleed against Carolina, but that was really getting close to like a 60-40 timeshare until now Connor went out. So I don't expect this to just become a 95% Benson, 5% DiMercado, or like whomever. I think they kind of have to make sense of DiMercado. Looking at the market here, you said receiving yards, correct?
Receiving yards, I'm over 1.5 reception line at plus 115 feels like a pretty good value because, running backs, I like to bank on like targets more so than yards because, these dudes will randomly catch one for like -5 and shit.
Yeah, absolutely. 110 at Novig at 1.5. That's like the best price. Actually, Profit X 116 with $750 of liquidity at plus 116 for DiMercado. So I don't have enough of a strong opinion, but I do believe because of how they were running the split with Benson only $12 at 121. Let's lower these odds here. Lagging a little bit, Novik. Profit's lagging on me. I'll get a refresh. But again, just like the way that they run their offense, I just don't expect there to be a situation where like he's just like that's it. Like they're just gonna give the 100% of the snaps to Trey Benson in the backfield, and like that's it. Like he was definitely getting the love, and I do think he's a talented player. So I'm actually with you there. I think that this is that DeMercado has some value. I just wish it was more like widely available. Like 1.5 at DraftKings. We have a DraftKings boost, so like in that parlay, the leg will essentially get some EV, but you're not like devigging to like the usual suspects, which like of course does become more of like nuts on the table. Like I like this over market, which in times of uncertainty, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I think it would be better. Like I would probably play that if Arizona was playing like Baltimore on the road, and it's just like a game where like they're probably gonna be passing the entire fourth quarter, and it's like clear pass down situations where he would actually play. Because I do think that like if this game is close, I think it's gonna be Benson workhorse season, but you need like the script to hit. I think for DeMercado to be like involved in the receiving game.
Yeah, and I'm looking at last touchdown just for shits here. I wish this was a little bit higher for DeMercado, like you just mentioned. I don't think that this is going to be like a blowout where he's going to be dominating some shares here. But if this was at like 30-1, then maybe it'd be worth a little fun for the last tutty. But also even for the anytime touchdown boost, because FanDuel, not the boost, but they have the jackpot again tonight for prime time. So first or last touchdown based on his anytime odds. Let's see what they are here. 460 with, of course, the chance to win the prize pick of, or excuse me, a bonus share of 2 million of bonus bets. Is this worth it, Ty? Should we keep digging for this promo?
Well, we got to have something, right?
Absolutely,
got to have something. So I don't know. I'm like looking at. I'm trying to like see if there's any like snap edges. There's what's like Elijah Arroyo, this tight end on the Seahawks. Do you know what he's at?
We'll pull him up right now.
Touchdown. I love betting on like backup tight ends.
We'll pull it up right this second. 10-1 at FanDuel. That's best in market. Novig 880. Nothing, of course, that's Circa very selective with who they pick even on prime time. But let's see Arroyo. So I have the snap counts here just out of curiosity. 39% snaps, 5 targets. Got more targets than freaking Kenneth Walker.
45% rel participation on the year per FTN. So that's like half the snaps if they're in the goal line or if they're in the red zone. You got to think it would be 2 tight end looks.
And Barner being half the odds to me based on
he
has the higher snap count here, but I'm looking red zone. Barner's got 1 ed zone catch, 1 ed zone touchdown, no ed zone. Or is that a target or just catch? Target. So 1 end zone target, 1 end zone touchdown. Arroyo, nada. But is this like kind of fade the nonsense? Go to the backup tight ends here?
I think it's here's the thing too. It's like he's the receiver out of the two. Like AJ Barner is the blocker. Like if they ever do like a bootleg, it would make sense for Arroyo to actually run the route and Barner to be blocking because that's what they're good at. I think that's the best price. Especially if FanDuel is giving the best price in market, dude. I think it's worth the sprinkle. Like, and who knows?
You don't have to convince me with threaten me with a good time. $5 minimum, unfortunately. Or let's see, the odds are moving. I'm just looking at FanDuel now because on my phone, but I'm betting it right there.
Me too.
Zay Arroyo 10-1, seeing some odds move, but I have the jackpot bonus at any time minimum $5 wager for that. But we're obviously going to throw 10 for shits there. Elijah Arroyo, ATTS with the downtown touchdown jackpot entry. That's what we're using it on. So that's an Arroyo touchdown 10-1 using the FanDuel boost. And hopefully he scores the first or the last. And next thing you know, we are hanging out in a bonus pool up to 2 mil where
we'd have a big chunk of it because I know damn sure no one else is on Elijah Arroyo.
Or it would be freaking Trey McBride because why wouldn't it be everybody and their mothers on him? But not going to do any outing right here, but I will mention that somebody I trust did mention to me that they expect Kyler to sling it a lot, and trust as in like they are very tuned in, like the same way like you and I aren't as tuned in with these two organizations. Like, is somebody whose opinion on these matters with one of these two teams is expecting a big Kyler passing game. I am somebody, again, putting my trust out there, so you don't have to believe me here, because if we get smoked there, we get smoked, which makes me love this Michael Wilson actually a little bit more, but also has me more inclined, Ty, to look at some Arizona pass catcher stuff here.
Are we cooking at SGP?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Cooking one on DraftKings, and the 50% boost we have on FanDuel. I actually have to cook two on DraftKings because I want that ghost parlay because I'm square. And FanDuel has the 50% boost on like any bet. Can be a straight bet, could be a touchdown first, whatever. So right now we got two SGPs to cook quickly, a first tutty for each team, which is easier at this point, and then as well as a 50% boost on something that hopefully is plus EV. So we got some work to do. But Michael Wilson being involved in this SGP, to me, at least in one of the two markets, is a no-brainer for this DraftKings SGP.
Eric, let's do the Michael Wilson 20-plus yard reception on FanDuel. It's plus 185, so I moved a little bit, but he hit this in 8 out of 16 games last year, and he's also due, and Kyler's going to sling it. So I think that because he's a downfield guy, so like if he has like a 40-yard game, like 50-yard game, which is pretty good for him, he's probably getting a 20-yard reception in there.
For sure. So many markets, man. It's like a blessing and a curse. Michael Wilson, plus 185 for a 20-yard reception, correct?
Yeah. Do you like that? Because I really like that. I think that's pretty mispriced, personally. Like, what is the implied probability of 185? Do you know that off the top of your head?
Top of my head, no, but I know I can Google implied probability calculator and get that. This is something that everybody should, if you're gambling, get going. But if you have it right here, 185. Implied probability 35.09%.
Yeah, it should be like closer to 50, I think. Well, not actually 50, but like 40. It should be like 45%, in my opinion. And that's just like my vibes take, right? Like, there's no math behind it. It's like, besides like that 8 out of 16 hit rate.
Are we okay? Michael Wilson, 20+ yard reception. Is this something you want to put the boost on, get that to plus 278 and call it a day, or you want to build a little bit of a lay around here?
Let's build a lay, dude. It's prime time. Let's have some fun.
Absolutely. And also build something on DK, because I want to use those boosts as well. And we'll find some many times, but I'll scan through while you do some little digging there. I'll just pull up the odds for first touchdowns and just go through the board just to see if we find any like clear values to circa while we continue to cook those out, so we can get a little two-man going here. Arroyo 6-1 first. Like, is that just like enough set for the Seattle side, or do we hedge our Arroyo with a Barner, which is 28-1 at MGM actually, which is 1,800 at circa? Do we hedge that and go 1-1 there? Just watch Kenneth Walker score and it not matter?
Yeah, we'll watch like literally anyone else score for it to not matter. Dude, I'm an all-in guy personally. Like I'm a, if I'm gonna say one thing, I'm a follow it up. So I like this, and like, dude, 60-1. Like, come on, that's a pretty good bet for someone who plays 50% of the snaps and is a tight end, right? Tight end, big bodies in the red zone. I don't know. I like that.
I'm with you. I also am a, you love somebody, I ride them. Obviously, like considering there to be like EV in some capacity at the very least there. Like, I'm not just throwing darts to say I throw darts. Like, yeah, there's going to be times where you love somebody and they don't do shit, and it is what it is. There's going to be times where you just bet EV and you don't have any opinion, or you think you're like even potentially like fading what you think is right, but doesn't matter. That's what it is. But no, I'm in on Arroyo with you. First touchdown. Still got to find a Cardinal here, which we'll do as you continue to cook a bet lay. But I locked in Arroyo 60-1 here. First touchdown. That would be a beautiful, beautiful cash. So if he scores the first, we get the jackpot, and we hit to a 10-1, a 60-1, and we're in a bonus pool there. Like, I don't think there's a better way to have a Monday night. But again, everybody tail cautiously as we're talking about a 60-1 and a 10-1 bet. So, but we do see some EV, so that's half the battle here. I'm curious at this point, like, what is Wilson first? Circa though, this is when I hate because if I was in a Circa state right now, I would bet the 26-1 at Circa, even though like they are the sharper book here. But like I can't bet a 20-1 now, like with Circa being so high, unless you think differently with their markets. What are your thoughts there on just like general, I guess, betting,
Yeah.
move making?
I think Circa's king. Like I know that Circa doesn't have like a no for first touchdown score. But they, whoever takes the most money is king, and it's Circa. So you gotta respect them. I know that they don't really list like a ton of props too. Like you're never gonna find like these like niche role guys really on Circa. That's because they can't properly price it. They're not gonna like price every single niche role player on like correctly, so they don't even post it. So I think Circa's king. FanDuel, you got to respect him, but at the end of the day, it's Circa, it's Pinnacle, but probably Circa, to be honest.
Yeah, and I also like looking at the prediction markets. It is something you need to be a little bit like cognizant of because you never know who's on the other side and if they're like hedging off something from a different prediction market and putting liquidity there. If it is like kind of like a fake in the market, but at the same time, if the odds are much better at those prediction markets and liquidity is up there, it does lead me to believe that like a no Vega profit or a sport trade, especially for props, a sport trade where no, that's like a sharper group of people like getting their good action there, and that number is up there with not a ton of liquidity for a reason because that's a price that sharper people are looking at and saying like, no, that's not good enough for me, or it's too good, or if there's a ton of liquidity, it's saying like that's something they want to get in on. Like they're clearly capturing that. You see that oftentimes on a lot of unders, but when there are some off-market stuff on some of those exchanges, like it is kind of like telling in that sentiment that I think that they're like figuring out where they fit in your DVIG method. I think is like totally up to you still. Like as a gambler, which I pick the odds, it's amazing because you can include all of them, you can include none of them, and you can choose how much of any of them you do include in your DVIG calc. If you do have like a lean or a hypothesis, actually, it leans not the right word. Like you have like a literal like mission statement per se on like what you think they should be. With Circuit kind of dominating some of these prices, the best price for first tutty that I'm seeing is McBride at 950-1 at DK to Circa so far of like the usual suspects here. Like Kyler has better odds there. Even DeMarcado has better odds at Circa. I didn't check Benson actually because I'm sticking to Arizona only because we ripped Arroyo and I'm betting only one on each side because it's prime time for no other reason. But pricing is just making me want to rip McBride. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
Click
I mean, plus
Benson 50. Plus 950 too. Marv like to Circa 12-1. ESPN's at the same price, so like maybe it is Marv. A little bounce back there. Of course there is some healthy Seahawks. What's up?
365's at plus 850.
Yeah, and so is Hard Rock.
I have another prop that I actually have like a really strong lean on. I might end up playing it. I'm not sure.
Talk to me.
Murray under 6.5 rushing attempts is like I really, really like that personally. Like I said, I do believe in stickiness from matchups against previous defensive coordinators. I do think it's a good spot for him to run. Obviously, it's a division game, 1 point spread. You want to back like quarterbacks to run in competitive games. I am a believer in that. But with that being said, Kyler like last year only had a 3% scramble rate against the Seahawks. If you look at his games, he had 2 rushing attempts and 3 rushing attempts against the Seahawks. And I do think that, there's a league-wide trend and Kyler's definitely adhering to it a little bit with like, the just like more quarterbacks running. But I do think that, that's clearly something that McDonald, a smart defensive coordinator, looked to take away. He had like so many damn dropbacks against him last time. And like I said, only 2 and 3 rushing attempts, scramble rate was all super, super low. He's never going to QB sneak either because he's so damn small.
No, never.
So, yeah, like last year, he was under in 13 out of 17 games. The year prior, he was under in 6 out of 8 games. I mean, like, he's under in 20 out of 28 games, like, over the last 3 years. So,
I mean, I just bet it on my phone. So, I'm in, especially considering, again, like, I have somebody who I trust who told me they're saying it's a Kyler dropback game. And, like, again, call it blind faith if you want, but it's not. I know what I know about this person, so I'm in, honestly. So with that considered, with the Kyler passing, and especially with what you said, because I think like people would be inclined to bet the over there, but because they're expecting some dropbacks. But I think no, it's the scramble rates that you mentioned. It's one of the few times where I think hit rate is more meaningful. Is like you said there, when you have like clear understandings of how the defensive coordinators and the offenses themselves look to play, because they are the same cast of characters there. That's one of the few times where those things are very sticky when you do have that kind of continuity. Unfortunately, on DraftKings, you can only parlay overs in rush attempts. You can't
Really?
parlay over unders. So for a DraftKings lay, unfortunately, can't get there. So
What
let's
is the DraftKings best price in market that you're seeing?
yeah, I'm seeing actually Epic Fantasy. They're not in New York, minus 118. So if you have an Epic Fantasy, I think it's only fading parlays. Honestly, I don't quote me on that because I don't use them because I can't. I've heard nothing but great things about the platform. Don't get me wrong. So shout out to Epic. But that is what I'm seeing. Best price is 118 there, and of the recreational books here, 125, with 5.5 being 110 at MGM. I don't know the math there. That could technically be a better price, though. Thinking about it now, might be too late. It is too late for me, but that might be a better price.
The margins are pretty thin with these rushing attempt lines, honestly. Like ending at 6 is like for sure in the range of outcomes.
Especially if we get a kneel down situation with a Cardinal win. But I'm on a Seahawks side, so hopefully we're not seeing that.
Like if it was yards like 100%, then you take the plus 110 all day. But attempts are like kind of similar to receptions in my mind, where like the one can actually make a huge difference.
Absolutely.
So I might lock this in officially.
I just bet it, so I'm with you. And I'm locking in McBride first. Call me square. I called it out on stream yesterday, like being on McBride despite the squareness. I want one for both teams in the game here, and because it is better price to Circa. So again, I'm not like saying screw the market, I'm out. Like no, it still is EV to Circa. So that being said, gonna be gut riding there. We have two tight ends here. We have Elijah Arroyo, Mr. Who the hell is that, and Trey McBride, who, again, the touchdown stuff I think is actually sticky because, like I mentioned, ETR explained it really well. I don't remember exactly the numbers they pointed out, but like it could be a case where like there isn't a due for a guy who didn't even score touchdowns as a freaking NFL basically player in high school or in college. It's just like not in his game. And I said that last week, but what did he do? He scored a touchdown. So maybe it's all nonsense and it's all just reading the board incorrectly here. But no, I'm in on McBride. So still got to use this boost and build some of these parlays. Unfortunately, the annoying factor is against two of the things that we like. To like being the rush attempts and the 20+ yard reception for Mr. Michael Wilson. Those are not lines that you can SGP on DK, which is just annoying. So it is what it is, but we're still got some time here finalizing some of these plays and looks good. So let's keep cooking here.
Yeah, Murray just moved down a little bit. Like the odds got better, which I don't know if that's a great sign.
3 cents. Pull up the history here on PTO, as you see. It moved to 117 and then to 112 in quite literally over the course of these 40 seconds. So maybe somebody was listening and figured the hell out of us.
Yeah,
maybe
they're like, screw you, dude.
Faded back the same way.
That's
so I mean, this is again what I love about Pick the Odds. Like they have everything you need from an odds history. If you guys aren't using PTO, like give them a chance. You can use it for entirely free. Picktheodds.app. I'll post a link right now under the stream. All the positive expected value arbitrage we haven't even looked at yet. Boost analysis. They're getting bet tracking. They're working on like an insane bet tracking. Like they're taking it to a sick new level. Like I was talking to the team and like what they're doing. They're not just like tracking the bets. Like they're finding a way to like make this whole thing like seamless, which is going to be sick whenever that comes out. EV markets for everything. It's really one of the best platforms out there. And you can use it for entirely free until you build your bankroll and want to, maybe take a chance on them pay, which I couldn't recommend enough. But shout out to my boys there. But let's finish up these lays, Ty. Time's coming up here.
Yeah.
I'm getting my ghost leg parlay and I'm using the 33% boost. So call me square here. But Murray passed touchdowns. Let's take a look at that. Let's see here. 129 at DK, 134 at FanDuel being best price. We use the boost. That is 140 at Circa though. So again, betting 10 minutes for game time, it's always tough, especially with the books that are, choking
Best
out on
price at Circa, never a good sign.
Yeah, especially these 2K limits. I'm sure some accounts at DK can get 2K down on that, but those are not the accounts you want to be tailing if they're betting somehow 2K on a prop like this there at DK. Let's look at Darnold out of curiosity because I didn't do a ton of digging here. Best price of Circa still FanDuel right there. Under like the whole percentage, as you can see here, also it's very small. Zoom in quickly, like 5.8% at DK, but Circus hold, yeah, fantastic bookmakers as well. But I was trying to emphasize how bad the hold is at ESPN, FD, and DK here because like you would think at 137 you would have a better price on the under to maybe throw in the parlay here. But no, that's not how it's going to work here.
Devigging from Circa is just like very smart to do. I mean, any book that like trusts their numbers enough to have like a 2% hold rate against props is like insane. Like that's like the number. That's like that's what the number probably should be, or not probably. That's what it should be.
And we both mentioned it. We both spoke about it. This McBride actually, you see on the EV screen, went from 105 to even money at ESPN. So if anybody missed out, we like this a lot at minus 105. But it's at even money, giving us 5.8% EV. It was like 3.6% at minus 105. So worth noting here, as you see, right here, 3.3 to the market here. Devigging to Penny, Sport Trade, No Big Profit, and Circa. Marv under 50 305 liquidity. Like I'm not sold. I kind of think Marv can.
Yeah, I don't like that.
But all right. So for this, like, just to get this going, receptions here. Michael Wilson what was he? We bet that at plus 130. If you got in, that's what we pulled up. Did drop to 120 quickly, so hopefully you guys did get in 130. The other still was EV at 120. I like the 20. Are we laddering Wilson? Not like fully, but like in this DraftKings lay that we have to take, are we taking 40 plus? Because I will take 40.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, anything that's not a reception ladder, I'm cool with. Like, I don't think he has like a 5-catch game in him, but I do think he has like a 50-yard game in him. Maybe like 60 if you're feeling frisky.
I agree here. Let's pull up the market again, of course.
And if you're on FanDuel, like I said, that 20+ yard reception makes sense. I wonder if there's any books that are like dumb enough that like let you correlate like a longest reception and a yards. I doubt it. Maybe back in the day, but
yeah, maybe one of these new up and comers that are trying to like entice players with one of those like a sweepstake or something that are still figuring out their pricing or are just trying to allow that, but then odds are they ban your account in 48 hours after unless they are willing to take the L like for 1 week to get some action. Then they're going to quickly find that those same sharp bettors are probably then leaving the platform right after they change those odds. But
yeah, exactly.
It's a tough match, tough racket here. This sweepstakes, sports books, prediction markets, etc. But do some quick line shopping here on. I'm going to be using it in a parlay with a 33% boost and for the ghost leg. So like, I'm not going to be so price sensitive on this Wilson, but I am just curious on what the prop market is for his receiving yards, alternate particularly, 40 plus. 231 at DK, 240 at FanDuel. So again, with the boost, that's not going to dissuade me. And then 50 plus, 385, 390. I'm going with the 50 plus there as one of the legs here.
Look at the Caesars. Caesars got a plus 450.
450 best odds. If you're betting straight and you want to tail this, Ty has a bunch of value on Wilson stuff. Caesars is the place to do so. I'll pull up the odds here to confirm because sometimes Caesars is one of the few books that PTO sometimes has a little bit of issues with, but I think it's always on Caesar's end. And there's also just like I'm probably recency biasing one time, but nope, that 50 plus is right there hanging out at Caesar's for anybody who's interested. But I'm going to be throwing that in a lay. Because it's a lay and I'm not going to say I'm not expecting to win. I'm just going to throw in Seahawks money line because I already bet it. So like at that point, I feel like I might as well just double down rather than try to find some other other things to mix it with. And I need one more leg here. Like I want to just be so square and go with like Marv or like Trey. Like what's Trey like 3 receptions? Because I want to get the 10-1. Just the D-gen in me just wants to get the 10-1, I should say.
Trey 4 receptions, 3 receptions. I mean, that just feels like very, very safe,
Dude,
like you could all the rushers I think are pretty volatile just with like how Walker and Charbonnet splits always end up. Like Benson, I think he's a workhorse, but I guess we don't know technically because we just haven't seen it. So I think he's like the most.
I'm gonna spill down FanDuel quickly, but hear me out here, Ty. Michael Wilson 50 plus, McBride 4 catches, Seahawks money line with the boost is plus 1064.
I like that
for like a 10-1. That is a little squared some capacities there, but like not all. Of course, you have a game line that does seem. And then let's go back to the money line here and see if Penny moved off the. Well, Penny's actually at 113, so is bookmakers. So there is some late Arizona love in the market. But I already bet Seattle, so I'm not gonna like do one of those. I'm gonna fade my straight with the parlay. Like I made my bet here, and I'm also talking about like a max parlay boost of $5 based on what I bet on the actual game line, where I'm personally willing to throw $5 extra in of action there. But are we going crazy and are we sprinkling a Michael Wilson most receiving yards 27-1, or is that just reckless?
Ooh, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can do that.
I agree with you.
Michael Wilson at the end of the day is Michael Wilson, right? Like,
yeah, of course.
I don't know if he has like a 100-yard game in him. I think
Trey Tucker did it. I mean, it's the Commanders' defense, but he was the receiving leader on Sunday's slate. We've seen crazier.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
But no, that's a great. We could actually pull it up here. If, PTO has those markets right here, so we could do some line shopping between the books that have that, which is again another reason why it's amazing. Most receiving yards of the game. Just out of curiosity here, we could scroll through a lot of guys. We also have the 50% boost on FanDuel we can use on that if that's what we decide, or on anything realistically if that's what we decide to do there. But who am I looking for? Michael Wilson, 40-1 at Caesars. That's the best price on most receiving yards there.
40-1, man. I mean, that's worth a nibble. He is like a deep ball receiver. Maybe JSN's regression hits and he ends with like 60. Marv continues to be mid, and McBride just eats underneath and has a ton of catches, but not a ton of yards. You can speak yourself into it.
And if the Cardinals and JSN, they don't have the connection there. Cooper Kupp obviously is going to be underneath a ton. I don't think anybody else, unless it's Torrey Holton's like breakout, really is a part 2 there. And he, I guess I wouldn't say that that's out of this world crazy or anything like that.
I don't hate it. 40-1, you can talk me into it. What's the implied probability? Oh, I just closed out of the tab. Let me quick see. I mean, he should be like a 1% probability at least. I mean, let's see. 40-1 is 2.4%. Kind of actually sounds right when you like put it like that. Oh, Eric, you're on mute.
And we're back. I'm on Seahawks money line. McBride 4+ receptions, Wilson 50+ receiving yards with the 33% boost on DraftKings, getting me to 1064. With the 50% boost on FanDuel, it's better, but I think I'd rather use that on like a straight that we can, or like a 2-legger that we can like capitalize on more EV from. And I also still have to cook something to get the ghost leg, but just because like I love the ghost leg. I'm 2 for 1 on them this year, like in profit, which like doesn't freaking matter, but like something about like the gimmick, like it's maybe spared me. Like I love the gimmick. I love that gimmick.
That's nice.
Like let me see the that's the thing too, is I make it be like, okay, they changed it now because maybe I've been running a little bit too many lays on DK specifically. You have to bet a $20 SGP, minimum odds of plus 300. Last week it was $10. I know for a fact.
Yeah. They're like, okay, guys, you got to be a little bit more degenerate here.
Yeah. Then this is what they did to even double down on the degeneracy. They changed it to 20 to get a $10 ghost leg token, or bet 50 to get a $25 ghost leg token. I am actually out, so never mind. Like, this is just, I'm taking a principle stand. Like, at $10 you had me. I'm in DraftKings. You could scam me for tens to get the ghost leg for fives last week. Doubling it up where I'm cooking it, honestly, like realistically, if I wasn't cooking 20 minutes before game time, I'd probably like put one of the old lab sessions in there and like grind hard to find a 3-1 that I love to like get that. At this point, probably I'm actually calling it and saying that like it's too late in DraftKings. You can't keep getting away with this shit and expecting me to abide by your promos that are just really dog shit.
DraftKings is making me bet 100 for my SGP.
Oh God, yeah. So I don't know what it is.
Me.
They're just doing whatever the hell they want to do, unfortunately. Yeah,
wow.
I mean, all for a ghost leg. I was talking about this on stream Wednesday, I think, or maybe it was Monday. Either way, not saying they got like killed on that promo because like there's no way they got killed, but like the public probably did decently on that promo after 3 weeks.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Hence
FanDuel's out here giving away $2 million every primetime game. Like guys, and if that doesn't like let you know like how much money or what percent of people are like losing bettors, that FanDuel is just out here giving away $2 million for every single primetime game. Like, I don't know what else to tell you.
It is in bonus bets, but yes, principally speaking, absolutely, very well said. And
oh shit, okay, it is in bonus bets. I guess I didn't know that.
It is bonus bets, which probably changes it just a tad there. But yes, that is the unfortunate reality of everything that's going on here. Game starts in 17. We still have that 50% boost, so that's probably the last thing we got to bet here. Just for confirmation for the boys of what we have played so far. Seen a lot of guys coming in. Shout out to everybody who's in. Make sure you follow my guy Ty at Ty Van Kingler. I can't read from too far away.
I switched it from my actual name, which is Tyvan Klinger, to Tyvan SB, just for like straight betting.
Tyvan SB, straight betting, does amazing stuff on YouTube. So make sure you guys follow straight betting on YouTube. Make sure you follow at GoBetSmart on X as well as on YouTube. So hit that subscribe button. We have a bunch of amazing content. I've been posting shorts every freaking day. I'm streaming 4 or 5 times a week. I have a couple of full length videos up with a couple more coming out very soon. So make sure you subscribe as well to at GoBetSmart on YouTube. But let's use the 50%er, Ty, and then let's call it. But what we have so far, I'll speak for myself, but we do have some of the same stuff. We saw EV on McBride under 6.5 receptions at -105. We saw EV on Michael Wilson over 2.5 receptions at +130. Dropped to +120, which is the lowest where I would bet that. Anything lower than 120, the EV is like under 0.5%, not worth it. For the touchdown jackpot entry on FanDuel, Elijah Arroyo 10-1. Also, Elijah Arroyo first touchdown 60-1. So if he scores that first, we're feeling good. Kyler Murray under 6.5 rushing attempts, and I bet Trey McBride first touchdown. So my first touchdowns are McBride and Arroyo. I have one for each side for every prime time for the boys. And I just cooked up a parlay on DK Seahawks money line because I also bet Seahawks money line as well. Probably didn't mention that at 115. Though I saw some Arizona money come in. So if you're fading me, I no disrespect, no hard feelings. But C money line, McBride, alternate line 4+ receptions, and Michael Wilson, alternate line 50+ receiving yards, plus 1064. And we're looking to cook one more bet with the 50% boost on FanDuel, which we're in the process of cooking. I see Ty's locked in over there. So where is this research bringing you here?
Yeah. So, dude, if I kind of like, I don't know, can you put these in? I really like a Kenneth Walker longest rush. I just think that he's in a good running scheme. He hasn't really been that great this year, but Charbonnet's foot status is weird because he missed a game and, he was like a full practice right away, which makes 0 sense. I think that he's a little more hurt than they're letting on. So I do think it's the backfield is going to skew towards Walker. So, and if you want to get frisky with it, I don't know if you can do alt longest rushes on DK, but I don't hate a Walker longest rush at 13.5.
Let's pull up the market here because PTO, of course, any market you could think of, even if it's only double one book, They got it all. So Ken Walker, longest rush. Let's see the numbers here. 13.5 is the pricing overall. Minus 110, pretty standard across the board here. ESPN has 15 plus at plus 110, which not a ton of like deviating to do there overall, but that's the best price in market. ESPN allows these longest rush ladders, as you see, 20 plus there, 260, 25 plus 425, and 29 plus 365 actually. So 365 and ESPN are two books that do allow that. Unfortunately, DK and FD are not two of those books, unfortunately. So looking for this 50%er. Let's see, like most rushing yards, I'm assuming Kenneth is just pretty massive chalk, but we'll just see pricing. 175. So he's not. Maybe he is like the favorite in the market, but I was expecting closer to minus, like the honestly even money. But I also, again, we know that Sharps is back, most rushing yards. So Benson's the favorite at 140 on ESPN here.
I like Walker
there. I like Walker there too. I'm thinking, like, is this the dumbest thing ever to do? Like Kenny Walker. Like, this is probably so square, but like, I'm just doing some pricing here. Kenny Walker, most rushing yards, and then Kyler, most passing yards, which is even money. SGP 50% boost plus 667.
I don't hate that. I think that Walker should be easily favored. Like I think that I don't think Benson's gonna have a good game. I really don't. I think he's gonna have like a 15 carry for like 46 yards or something like that.
All right, hold on here. What if we do this the craziest thing ever here? Again, not that crazy, of course, but okay. Ty, Michael Wilson to record a 20 plus reception.
Yep.
20 plus yard reception. Murray most passing yards, Walker most rushing yards with the 50% boost plus 1536.
I'm in.
Is that ridiculous, or is that I
don't know how it loses, dude. I don't know how that loses actually. Like I just they all should be, they're all gonna win. I feel good about that.
I feel good about that too, because again, like I'm buying some info here on Murray. I think I fully agree with you that seeing Walker is not the chalk to me is mind-blowing. With that being said, I think Sharp, there's no way he's just that healthy. And they were like alternating routes, which is like obviously annoying as hell. And not routes, like fully drives, I should say. They're alternating drives entirely. But like walk a game like week one, like I think that's a good spot of like talking about being due, Ty. It's like Sharp's week one, obviously, like blew everybody's minds with like how much use she was getting. I had Sharp touchdown at like 4-1, and then I also used the boost at 6-1. So I love the Charbonnet week one nonsense. And then week two, I'm looking at FTN right now, actually, as well on my other monitor. Let me go to rushing snap count. Sharps outsnapped him, but it only had 2 fewer attempts. Walker, but he had 105 rushing yards compared to Charbonnet's 10 yards on 15 attempts. Walker had 13 and 105. And then week 3, of course, was Sharps did not play with that injury. Did it come during the game? Why am I forgetting? No, he did not play. Yeah, what's up, Ty?
So some weird stuff just happened. If you want to go back to your pick the odds screen, Charbonnet's line just steamed up from like 40.5 to 44.5 on FanDuel and every other book, basically.
Let's catch it in real time here.
So
you said from 40.5 to 44.5. This is new.
Yeah.
Let's pull up the line history here. Time latest 8:15. Hold on here. This could fully just be like I didn't mean to click that. Could fully be like somebody who knows something, doing something.
Yeah.
Maybe just took a crappy ticket here. 39.5, 4 o'clock at 57. This is an alt number. This is my one little gripe is I don't love the interface always here, but this now being the baseline of 44.5. These odds, I don't think these pull up here.
Look, it's teamed up.
Yeah, let's see FanDuel right here. That's what am I looking at? Novig. What's this is ESPN, which like of course I don't love. This is 10 hours ago, 1:15. Then now we're getting into closer times. Let's zoom in even more accordingly here. 20 minutes ago 105, and ESPN being slow to move now at 120 across for the Charbonnet late steam with 10 minutes to go until kickoff here. Very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah. That feels like an information-based bet, like this late before we kick off. So that makes me a little bit nervous on the Kenny Walker side. I don't know.
I could click that cash out button, but I ain't no bitch. No, I'm just kidding. But Charbonnet is still most rushing yards plus 310. I mean, obviously, I would expect that market to not move as quickly based off news. I guess what I'm saying in that goes, while it's not totally correlated, because we're talking about a 310, because you could still have 45 rushing yards, but not become, the leading rusher in the game, especially with Benson being the chalk. But if that did like drastically move, like in the next honestly, any time from now to the next 5 minutes, I think that could be very indicative as well. Did you watch it move, or like you just remember a number, like not like calling? Yeah, I was gonna say not calling cap, but like sometimes like I'll think a number, but I just had it wrong in the first place.
Well, because I like the under. That's why I remembered it. Because I was like, obviously with my take on the Walker thing, I'm like, I think that he's more hurt than people are letting on. So I like the under, and then just seeing it steam up like that, I'm like, oh crap, no, I want to play Charbonnet's under, but I don't know. This late steam's always a little bit scary.
Absolutely. Especially in a two-way market. Like if it's a one-way market and like a touchdown odds are just going down or something like that, it's like, all right, whatever. Like they're probably just trying to, get one over on the guys who are finalizing their bets here, but aren't using something like PTO or have their own projections to, actually find some EV. There's also a live touchdown boost. So if you didn't get in on like Arroyo, or like you're not interested in him, but like, or maybe you are and like you want to see how the drives go, I still think McBride is worth it despite the pricing at circa. Like that could be my square take of the day. Like I'll die on the hill. I talked about it yesterday, and like everyone's gonna have a square take here and there. If I'm loving McBride in the wrong spot, then it's all in the game here. Arroyo though at 10-1, but also if Murray does come out slinging it, which I think is very, very possible here, I think there could be some nice opportunities for like some live anytime touchdowns for some receivers on Arizona if the market doesn't adjust. But Arroyo, Ty, maybe we're more influential than we think. Anytime move to 850.
Let's go, dude. They
first 5,500. So maybe somebody's listening here. Obviously, like mostly joking there, but all right, I will go through everything that we bet one more time. Ty, feel free during this time to like find any last minutes. I have EV screen up here, so you guys can look at that. If anything changes, if you see something you like here based on my DVIGs, on your own time, like right now, go ahead and bet that. But what we have bet, or what I have bet, Ty can finalize his card after I go through what we have. We're on a very similar stuff, but he also bet some things I didn't get into. I have Seattle moneyline minus 115. I have Michael Wilson over 2.5 receptions plus 130. We also like Trey McBride under 6.5 receptions minus 105, though there wasn't even money out there as well. Elijah Arroyo 10-1, FanDuel touchdown jackpot entry. Elijah Arroyo first touchdown 60-1 FanDuel. Murray under 6.5 rush attempts minus 125 on DraftKings. I also took Trey McBride first touchdown plus 950 DK. Parlay on DK. Seahawks money line. McBride 4+ receptions. Michael Wilson 50+ receiving yards, and then 50% boost on FanDuel. Kenneth Walker most rushing yards, Kyler Murray most passing yards, and Michael Wilson to record a 20+ yard reception plus 1530. So board is sprayed, first touchdowns, boosts are used, some straight bets with value, a game line stake. I put some nuts on the table here. Ty, you have a couple more plays that you talked about. What's the rest of your card looking like for the boys?
Yep. So I played the Michael Wilson stuff a little bit earlier, which is like the numbers aren't really too relevant right now, but on his over 20.5 yards, over 12.5 longest reception, the 20+ longest reception. And then recently, a nice number on Murray under 6.5 rushing attempts popped up. It was like minus 122, I believe I got it at DraftKings, if that's still there. I'm a big fan of that one. And of course, I'm riding with big Elijah Arroyo tonight, It's going to feel so good, Eric, when he scores the first and the last touchdown and we just get like 500K in bonus bets.
Oh my God, it's going to be sick. It's going to be sick. Yeah, Ty, because like Ty brought up the Murray stuff and I was betting it, and he was this happens a bunch on stream where lines move normally in the other way, like McBride, like I'm talking here, and then I miss out, or it was on the Wilson, I missed out on the 130 gets to 120. But in this case, Ty's giving his pitch, I'm tailing, and he still gets a better price than me 2 seconds later. So I got the 125 there, Ty got the 122. But what are you gonna do? Let me just confirm that last for the boys. But Ty, game's kicking off. We're ending. Any parting words for everybody, and of course, thank you for hopping on.
Yep. Thank you for having me on. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hope that you guys had a good time, found some good stuff, learned some stuff about betting, all that good stuff. And keep tuning in. Hopefully Michael Wilson has a big play. Kyler passes a ton and does not run, and Elijah Arroyo stumbles into the end zone. And of course, Kenneth Walker is going to lead the game in rushing too. So we basically gave you guys a script.
Absolutely. And the last time Ty and I were on for prime time, it was Monday, Bears, Vikings, and we absolutely killed it. We had Mason, most rushing yards. We had JJ McCarthy anytime. I think we also had another, not like banger, but like another like straight bet that came through easily. The 122, though, still available at DK. I've lost on 3 cents of value, but if you want to ride with Ty and I there, get there at DK rush attempts. But Ty, I really want to thank you again for hopping on. You're the boy, more than welcome anytime. And everybody in chat, you guys are the best. So make sure you follow Ty on X at TyVanSB. Follow me on X at GoBetSmart at Slime Action, and also on YouTube. Straight Bet and Ty makes some amazing content, and NBA is actually his best sport, or correct if I'm wrong, I should say your most interested sport, which probably leads to the best results there. So that season, of course, is coming out. So make sure you're following Ty for NBA season, and go bet smart on YouTube as well. We have such amazing sports betting tool content showing you guys how to use tools, exploring different platforms for you guys to use, breaking them down, reviewing them so you guys know what you're getting into and how to make the most of your betting journeys. But that'll do it for us. We appreciate all you guys, and let's hit some bets tonight. I'll see you guys next time.